Okay, so we're live on Facebook and YouTube. Got Zoe Davenport in the house. First show of the day. We got three today. It's going to be a really good day, really powerful day. So we're just going to play our little intro and then be back in about a minute and a half with Zoe Davenport. How's it going, everybody? We got Zoe Davenport in the house. A lot of you are familiar with her. She's been on the show before. I'm not sure where she's at. She travels around quite a bit, but we're going to find out here in just a second. As soon as I pull her up. Let's see. Here we go. All right. Oh, wrong one. Okay, here we go. There you go.
Hello.
What's happening, Zoe? Where you at? Where you
I
at now?
am currently in Costa Rica,
Oh, you're
just
in
by
Costa Rica. Yeah,
Uvita.
yeah, yeah. Well, I
Yeah.
know you're from the UK and you've been spending some time in Australia too, right? Weren't you in Australia?
Nope.
No? God, I don't know where I got that from. I have no idea where I got that from.
It's all good. I can't even catch up with where I go, to be honest with you. I probably have been there esoterically in the ethers.
Absolutely. So you're down there in Costa Rica. You
hmm
run into Alicia down there.
hmm
Yeah, very cool.
Yeah, we're
Little
good
soul
friends.
community, little soul gatherings going on down there.
Yeah.
All right. So what's been happening? We just had we're still tomorrow's the last day, right? The Lionsgate closes tomorrow. I've heard
hmm
today and tomorrow.
hmm
Yeah, it feels like a pretty powerful period of time. Looked like last week everybody went through a bunch of shift. And then it looks like things have kind of smoothed out a little bit. I don't know. What's your feeling? What's going on with you?
I feel amazing.
Hmm.
I actually feel really grounded in the frequencies that are wanting to come through. And the more I allow myself to experience the joy of the light that is blasting through all of the subatomic particles and
Hmm.
versions of self,
Hmm.
it's allowing me to really anchor in and really feel the new vision of what is wanting to be birthed for the collective and humanity. But really, it's that individual experience. And so, yeah, I feel really good. It's been a incredible year for, you know, the globe and the collective and individually. And I know that there is so much more to come and to unfold, but there is a joy in the reorganization of how consciousness is wanting to express itself now on the planet. And I really feel that I'm kind of like this, like we've been preparing for this for 10 years.
Oh yeah,
We really have.
yeah,
So it's game time.
yeah. It is
Are
game
we
time.
ready?
Game on. Game is
Yeah.
on. Yeah, I think a lot of there's a lot to be said for the things that are manifested and materializing, which are directly based or as a result of the efforts of many, many people for many, many years. You know, some of these people that come on this show have been doing this for 15, 20, 25 years,
Mm-hmm.
long before ascension was even in the dictionary. So yeah, it's been it's interesting too that you know, bring it back down to the individual experience, because there's a lot of focus on the collective experience, or what seems to be the collective experience. And there's been a lot of comments made on this show by people that have come on, as well as in the community. A lot of polarization, a lot of projection, a lot of over identification with a certain polarity, one side or the other of the 0 point. It's kind of an interesting walk. And I think it's a good time to always remember that this isn't about anything out there. It's about what's going on inside of us, isn't it?
Yes.
It's a big responsibility, but we wouldn't be here if we hadn't earned it or deserved it or are capable of transforming it.
Yeah. Yeah. I really tune into my higher self and I ask, what level of communication am I meant to be bringing through in terms of the transmission? And I keep getting neutrality, and to stay within the frequency of what helps my heart to stay open, what helps to remain in joy, even in the face of chaos,
Yeah.
and to really allow the processes to unfold. And so when I'm going deep into the core and there's like emotion or anger, or, there's a sense of like, wow, what is happening? It's like just to lean into that
Yeah.
and also release this chaotic, overwhelming responsibility that people have, that it is their job to save humanity,
Yeah.
or that there is one person that is going to save humanity.
Yeah.
It's really keep coming back. If we're not liking what we're seeing, what is that showing us? What do we
Yeah.
need to work on with inside?
Exactly.
And
Exactly.
this year is when we were leading up to 2012, it's kind of like the same energy. Everyone starts jumping on and has an opinion, and this is going to happen, and we should be doing this, and they're not doing enough of that, and oh, that's not spiritual, and I can't be, it's just so much.
Yeah.
And in 2012 happened, and guess what? Humanity just still was moving along.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. I get that. It was like 4 or 5 weeks ago. I got this little, we get these little downloads every day, right? Is that what you call them? I mean, I don't even know what you call them anymore. Us thinking in our own head. I don't know what you call it, but and that was projection is projection. It doesn't matter who started it. Another way that it came in was like, it doesn't matter who started it. If you engage it, you exacerbate it or expand it, where your attention goes, where your focus goes and all that. But yeah, I think it's interesting because I think we're faced with, coming out of this old paradigm where we always had to have this reaction. And I like what you say that, you can feel your way into it. And by some method that is innate or intuitive or even as at somewhat unconscious level, this by doing so, by not separating from it, by not resisting it or reacting to it, you can actually dissipate it. I haven't figured it out. I just got triggered this morning. I just happened to be doing my work, and then all of a sudden it came in, and I had to go lay down. I lay down for 30 minutes, and I just said, okay, like you were saying, I was like, okay, what is this? How do I want to handle this? And finally I just said, okay, this is how I feel, and sat with that for about 5 or 10 minutes, and then it's gone. you know yeah, I mean, I don't know if that's the answer for everybody. I'm just finding my way like everybody else. But yeah, it's definitely a changing landscape every single day. The truth moves to a higher level, and to say we're constantly chasing the truth, I think is maybe the wrong way to put it, but we're constantly expanding the truth. And I think that's the way I'm starting to understand it in my own field, is that we came here to create a higher truth. Really.
We came here to create a higher truth. We came here to embody a higher truth, and we came here to live that higher truth.
Yeah. Be it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I had been invited to speak at a conference in Sedona in late September. Thank you, Tolik. Um, and I was just, you know, how you just go into the visualization. I wasn't actively visualizing. I was just thinking about, because I'd been in that environment before in Sedona and covered a few conferences. And I was like, like taking the energy that I've experienced there, which is some established energy, but so much has changed. And I thought, what would you talk about? And I thought, and I could see myself getting up there going, you know what? I'm tired of talking about everything that's wrong. I'm tired of talking about the savior programming, QAnon, Trump. I'm tired of talking about the fear-based programming. Let's talk about what the real reason that we're here and the real reason that we all divinely orchestrated and set up all of these different programs in order to create that higher truth by first getting there through our own self-awareness, self-discovery, and reemergence of our skills and abilities, our supernaturals, if you will, from the human perspective, and be the gods and goddesses that we are, which is only being held back by our own belief system. I mean, when is the dialogue going to shift? Maybe I'm just sparking up, some tree outside of the forest that's standing by itself, but I'm kind of liking it.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know what's going to happen when I get there, but I don't know. It's just it's moving so fast, and I got to believe that this is all about, it's not take nothing personal, but it's a very personal trip, and our ability to influence the collective is limitless, even from
Yeah.
one soul's perspective. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'd love to add to that, because this is the time that we need to be coming together for the purposes of collective group consciousness and becoming masters at our own energetic experience and also in quantum physics
Yeah.
on what we are wanting to pull in, what we are wanting to create, self-organizing, creating community, creating structures, getting our hands in the dirt, in the earth, making choices with the way that we are spending our money. Is it supportive? Are the companies bridging the new earth paradigm, getting our money out of the banks and into ethical trading ways? And there's so much that is not being talked about enough, because there is so much frequency control that is happening with all of the conflicts and all of the divides, and he said, she said, and the government this and this, that, and the other. It's like we need to go an octave higher and really be anchoring in our divine light, because that's what our role is to embody the frequency of joy and to self-organize in a way that when we are taking action, physical action, we know that it's of the highest alignment and of the highest intention, that we are creating ripples around the planet.
Yeah.
And each individual person is going to be having so many different experiences of what they perceive reality is.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly. 7.7 billion people, and there's a strong possibility there's 7.7 billion Earths, and each one of us is a god or goddess leading there. But and this thing about the physical actions, I think, is really important. Morton. I'm still half at Morgan talks about it a lot, and demonstrates a lot, and we try to embody that. Taking these actions, they don't always look congruent with what you were trying to do energetically. What I mean by that is that if we take an action, even if we don't in the direction of what we're trying to create energetically, it still is an energetic action, and it still will be reciprocated by the universe in some way. In other words, another way to put it is things don't always come out the way we expect them, but if we have the right intention, then energetically we have moved the ball up the field. It's another thing that you bring up too, that comes to mind when you talk about taking physical action and disengaging from the programming. I'm starting to think or feel, I would say feel, not think, that that we are all going to be faced with choices to walk the talk. So for instance, it's one thing to say, and it's a big thing, okay, to stand up to the let's just say the matrix that the you, me, we, and it created, and say I'm not going to be vaccinated. But it's another thing to say I'm not going to take the COVID supplement from the government, or I'm not going to take any government substance, or I'm not going to, get insurance. How do we disengage from the 3D? How do we, how far do we have to go? And I guess, like you said, in the field of each person, in proportion to their own understanding, awareness, and life experiences, they make those choices. But you cannot underestimate the power of the energetic transformation or decision making and the steps that you take, to your point, because it's very important.
Yeah. And so the power of collective group consciousness is that inspired action. Can we sign a petition coming from the place of joy, as opposed from the intention of I do not want,
Yeah.
I do not like, I do not want, I do not like? Can we come from the place of neutrality? Because in my year, many shifts, many timeline collapses, and shifting around of players in my reality, big inner child healing and releasing, and so much, right? It's been an incredible year for that transformation. And all through that experience, I've been sat there holding the space of, I have no fear of COVID. I have no fear of the government. I have no fear of this vaccine, because at a subatomic level, I know that if I carry the highest frequency I can within myself, whatever is the timeline that humanity collectively chooses, I know I can recreate energetically whatever is that. Yeah. Right? So we talk about self-healing. We talk about being able to shift the particles of our physical being. We're able to shift the particles of whatever we may be perceived to be forced to take. But also, I hold the reality of whatever is for the highest and greatest and bestest of all. And so that's why we have to come above what we perceive physical reality to be. And, for 10 years, there's been a lot of beautiful sharings around that. And as soon as 2020 hit, it's like I've been witnessing and observing how's everyone responding to the frequency control. And there's a huge wave of light workers that are understandably quite scared and angry and frustrated, And so there's this whole wave of, wow, we're not going to do this, and this isn't good enough. And we have to keep coming back into our highest state of consciousness. Because if we're coming at it from the same energy that created it, we are recreating it.
Yeah, true. We're perpetuating it.
Yeah. And so something like the vaccine, what are we all collectively talking about? Oh, the fear of the vaccine. I don't want this. Anger, right? So let's come together collectively and hold the vision that whatever reality or timeline that was we were holding on to completely dissolves. Yeah. So I'd like to see us come together in that frequency, because that lights me up personally. And there's been so many conversations this year that I've been witness to. I'm like, okay, let's have a conversation about creativity, about expansion, about personal growth, about taking control through the alignment of our thoughts. Because it's not rocket science, it's quantum physics. And as we keep diving into that, whatever perspective of reality we are choosing to focus on, we will magnify, we will amplify, and we will continue to recreate. And so many, I'm through the matrix, but then they lose their job. Oh, the government's fault. Oh, I don't want to take a vaccine. Straight back in, sucked back into that vortex. Come back to your center, to your grounding, to your heart, to your vision, to your knowing that we have the power. But we give our power away when we lower our frequency to merge and melt in the same energies that's creating that.
Yeah.
As we talk about exiting the matrix, we talk about, oh, I'm ascended in 5D. It's all energy.
We're not.
It's all us. No.
I get what you're saying, because I get what you're saying, because okay, so there are two things. One is guard your thoughts, be responsible for your thoughts, because it is quantum. So if I'm thinking, you know, somebody, if my thought carried forward is creating polarity, then I will continue to expand the collective polarity. And that can be, stated many different ways, like they're not awake, or they're dumb, or that's bad, or whatever. When actually, if you think about the basic equation of quantum, in that the observer, through what they're taking in and then what they send out as a result of what they've seen, is actually what's being created or what's happening. We're talking about unity consciousness here. We're talking about transformation. So if we just take as a microcosm what I just told you happened to me this morning, I got a little bit triggered. I went and laid down. It wasn't anyone. It was a multitude of things that was presented to me in a 10-minute period as I was doing my work, coming from, on the surface, many different places. So it was like a multiple stream. We're going to trigger you. I'm going to trigger myself. Now I'm going to go and so if we use that as an example, and I'm not saying I'm right or I'm Jesus or this is the gospel, what I'm saying is that what I didn't do was attach to anything, resist anything, separate myself from anything. I just, in an unconscious, innate, intuitive surrendering, I just said, okay, this is how I feel. This stream pisses me off. This stream made me sad. This stream made me feel inadequate, whatever the case is. And I felt them all. And I have to believe that somehow or another, in which I can't understand, there was a transformation made, and I came out of it emotionally, mentally, spiritually, of course. And then my body is a little bit behind, which seems to be the way things go in this transition we call ascension. The body's always the last one to come in line. But so, to look at these things and not repel from them, separate from them, but to actually understand that everything that we're observing and that we don't observe is all the same God substance, God is substance. And that it is us, and we actually can work in cooperation with it and transform. And I think the seed of that is not involving anything that we say to anybody, anything that we take part in with anybody. It actually, the seed of it is in the thoughts within our own field, in our universe, in that one-on-one dialogue with the universe, that one-on-one conversation or relationship with the universe. The universe is, to me, the universe is our twin flame. Everything outside of me is me. So, I guess what I'm saying is that this self-reliance, this self-responsibility as co-creators comes down to not what, I tell people or what they think of me, but what actually happens inside of my own field in this communication with the universe. And I don't understand it all, but so much of it in 2020 seems to be less talk and more feeling.
Yeah. And it's a choice. I chose that this year was going to be the most transformational year that I have ever experienced in my personal reality. And I know that as I transform into more of who I am, I'm able to emit that frequency, that energy, that light, that life force to those around me through the transmissions, through my work, through my client sessions, through my programs. This is where we get to thrive. This is what we've been preparing for. Mm-hmm. Can we hold true to what we know deep, deep within our cellular being and come from that place and anchor in? And it's not to turn a blind eye.
Yeah.
It's not to close off from what is happening in the collective consciousness, but is a choice in how we choose to respond, and how we choose to react, and how we choose to move forward and what we want to create instead.
Yeah. Yeah, because if you look at everything outside of yourself, just say that everything outside of yourself is your twin flame, is your partner, whatever. if we look at our past behavioral patterns and in the old paradigm, it was always a reaction. Somebody did something to me. You know what I mean? Like you were saying about the Matrix took your job away or whatever. I was told 8 or 9 years ago when I woke up, as all of us did, as these things came in, you're like, am I going crazy? Am I hearing voices? Is this real? Do I need to go to the psych ward? And you're having this conversation. And I was asking a lot of questions. And one of the answers that came to me was, whatever you do, you can't do anything that's been done before. Whatever you do has to be creative, intuitive, imaginative, and courageous. And you take a step, like a remix at a minimum. Like you take a template of a Jesus and you remix it with your experience, and then whatever the situation is, you put it out in a broader way, bravely. I think we're creating the new Akashic, and we're creating the new templates and the new blueprints. And that's why I think also that this year there seems to be less of an emphasis or a diminishing emphasis or accentuation on some of the things that brought us to the party up to 2020, which would be our direct links to past lives, certain star family, different divine essences, angelics, archangelics. And what I mean by that is that these things are reminders, they're memories, they're opening up code in us. They're really, in a way, kind of like stories, like the traumas were stories that we've learned to heal and align, to where everything's being brought back to the center point, the epicenter of the entire thing, which is us. And it's like we're being pushed out of the nest now. And that composition of all those things that we've connected to and communed with is all being embodied, but without an owner's manual, without a set of directions. And it's kind of like, okay, you figure it out. And I guess we've all heard that. We've all heard, hey, here are the pieces to the puzzle. Now you go put the puzzle together.
Mm.
Yeah.
What do you want to create? What
Yeah. What
feels
do you want to create?
exciting? What feels expansive?
Yeah.
Because we know what we don't want. We've talked about what we don't want.
Yeah.
We're very clear on that.
Exactly. And two, what you said too about these things that are happening globally, if we, as within, without, as above, below, well, and what I mean by that is, if we look at these things, and I know this could sound a little bit less than compassionate for the things that are happening, but there is no in between. We're either these multidimensional gods and goddesses, these fractals of the one soul from a higher perspective and a higher awareness, and we can sustain and expand that, or we're going to dip down here and play in what we've been playing in. And guess what I'm saying is these issues, I would even change the word, these triggers that are occurring around the world are occurring for the same purpose that the triggers I received this morning are, that the triggers that we receive in our lives are. And that may not be the right word. Somebody just said that they love triggers. I think it was Jen Reynolds said they love triggers because it's a door, it's an opening to expansion. And really, if you look at what's happening collectively, it's happening individually. It's just a reflection, and it's an opportunity for us to transform and to expand, as opposed to continue with the perpetuation of finger pointing and separation and good guys, bad guys, dark and light, good and evil, and all that stuff. You're pulling in something. What's happening?
Yeah, there's a tremendous amount of energy that's wanting to come through for the
Go ahead.
audience.
Go for it.
It's it's been, I'm just like, I don't even, you were talking and my I was just like, wow, there's actually a really strong transmission that wants to come through. I'm just kind of like weaving it in. Thank you for recognizing that. I was like, oh, okay, we're bringing some energy.
Well, it's easy to do with those silver sparkles all around you. I don't know.
I
don't know if anybody else saw them. Yeah, bring it in.
Okay. So I really invite you to come into this space, this transmission of receiving, of receptivity, to open your hearts and just come back into you, your light, your frequency of joy. Just letting go of all the noise, all of the struggles, and just really allowing yourself to breathe into this moment. Itaro tomo shukoma sataya komo tama. Isatomo yamoto makasatomo sosho yama. Itare tomo koryama sosho. Isofo yamo gomo tomorena sosho yama. Idomutare tokomo yamo sosho tuk 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 tuk. Isa sosho tuk 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 tuk. Kataria tomo yamo sosho tuk 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 tuk. Tasatomo yama sosho tuk 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 tuk. Shoo. Just placing your hands together in front of your heart and just taking a deep breath in and deep breath out. Thank you. Oh, that feels better. It's like you wanted to go through, and I was like, yay!
Yeah, bring it. So now, do you connect with specific essences daily, or do you just have a different whoever's wants to step forward steps forward? Or how's that going for you in 2020? Has that changed at all? Has it changed at all? Is it from what it had been, like say in 2019? Are you seeing some kind of evolution in your own method and level of communication with the universe?
Yes. I went through a period where there were so many kind of individual expressions of consciousness that wanted to be witnessed within their name, their vibration, and where they're from. And so we would know that as, we're channeling certain kind of multidimensional beings. And then I went through a period that all kind of merged into oneness, into one pure, pristine consciousness. And then this year, what's been interesting is that band of frequency has kind of been pulled apart again. And so then I can recognize the individual expressions again, so that you may call that as individual beings, the councils of light, star beings, but it's all us, right? So it's however we want to interpret that energy. More so recently, what's been coming through is the diamond band star beings, as they're known, which
diamond band.
Diamond band star beings.
Oh, diamond band. Okay.
Yeah, well, more kind of diamond star beings. I don't know what the yeah, they Otuya Matare. I don't know what the name is for the for that, but I call them diamond bands because I see them as like a collective consciousness, and so they're like band together. And they've come through. I've been feeling a presence, and they've been kind of coming into my awareness in the last kind of 3 weeks. And what's interesting is, like, I feel myself as part of that band of consciousness, and the vocal range that has now been activated, it's so different to how sound wanted to come through, because that's how I do my activations. It's through different tones and light language and high pitched and low pitched, and then sometimes really like ancient ancestor elder shamanic Icaros will come through, or very like North Dakota energies will come through. And this diamond frequency, it's literally like you feel like you're receiving a transmission of an extraterrestrial, and I can feel the light, and that has been activating within all of my centers, and it's helped me to come back into the frequency of what I'm used to. Because I'll be honest, Todd, this year kind of knocked me for 6 as well.
Yeah, I think it knocked everybody. Right? And don't feel like the lone wolf. It's the people that I talk to, and they're like, "Hey, 2020 is just a breeze." I'm like, "Okay, well, I don't know what Kool-Aid you're drinking, but."
But it feels more integrated now. I feel like I'm back into, okay, this is my happy place. This is where I know I can do deeper work for myself and humanity, is if I keep myself in this space. So yeah, in answer to your question, yes and no. And it depends on what I'm feeling at the time, but definitely there's a softer energy that comes through, but it's way more powerful. And I'm noticing that in the response I'm getting from the videos I'm doing online, because they've been having like, I don't know, 10, 15 times more the views and more
Yeah.
shares and more comments,
Yeah.
because people are hungry to connect, plugs back in to what their frequency is. And so
Yeah.
that is what wants to come through.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
you know, that's a really good point, because there's been, and you would know this as a facilitator. Um, I'm not a facilitator in a traditional capacity, but one of the other things that's kind of happened this year in 2020 is when it comes to the interaction between, let's say, a client and a practitioner, or a seeker and a practitioner, in the old, say, pre 2020, there was more of a seeking, um, seeking a certain method, or seeking a certain school of thought, something that they could attach to, and therefore say, this is how it works. Now it seems like these interactions are occurring a little bit, it seems to be a little bit more evident for exchanging code. In other words, I come to you at some unconscious level, intuitive level. I'm looking for something to jog different parts of my memory, to open up code within me, as opposed to the more literal, physical, linear, where we were looking for certain, more strict or restrictive or constricted parameters to operate our reality in. But now things are moving so fast that it's like every time we wake up, every single person we run into or encounter, or like I did this morning, which was about 8 or 10 different streams, and all of a sudden they presented one big vibration as they combined and hit me in the third eye, and I'm like, holy crap, I just got triggered. Let's go just sit with this. But yeah, it's just such a different thing. Have you noticed that since like the first of the summer, like June 1st, have you noticed a change at all that's even different from the first part of 2020?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
I felt like we have been going down, 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 and around and around and around and down, 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 and around and around and around and down, 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 and around and around. And I feel like we've gone back up, and we've got the view now. So I feel like we have perspective, we have clarity,
yeah,
we have grounding, we have purpose, we have the ability to anchor in and sit in the eye of the storm, in the divine perfection
yeah,
of chaos,
yeah,
because chaos is actually very organized and very structured. It just doesn't look very organized to the mind.
yeah. For
The
the human.
consciousness knows exactly what it's doing,
Yeah.
knows exactly what it's doing.
It's the womb. It's the womb of the holy darkness. And I say that with utmost respect. It's Mother Universe's womb.
Yeah.
And you're right about that. From a human standpoint, we look at it and go, holy crap, I don't want to go near that. Or I don't, or I just want to do whatever I can, like avoid conflict, avoid, chaos. But, as time's gone on, I've really started to understand this, particularly through the energy of the divine feminine, which I have the luxury of having a female incarnated, in my life, and to be able to watch the way that the feminine flows and moves, and kind of step back from I guess, the distorted masculine or patriarchally impressed, conditioning, and step back and say, now, if I can look at everything else from a higher perspective, because that's what I am, I should be able to do that as well. And I've learned a lot from it, because what I notice is, especially in the last few weeks of this year, when I'm in those chaotic moments and I'm in that that thing you were talking about, up and down, all around, and all that stuff's happening, like that little roller coaster on the cosmic ride. I'm able to say to myself, okay, this may not make me feel better in this moment, but I know when this is over, there's going to be a huge expansion, because this is how it bursts. It's almost like you go into this chaotic soup, and that's where the birthing comes from. And to me, that chaotic soup is like the void, the great abyss, the womb, where you actually hit a state of surrender where you don't know anything. You absolutely don't know anything. You just put your arms back and fall back into the arms of Mother Universe, and say, where's the next ride going to take us? Because that's really what we're doing. We have ride after ride every day, all day long, comprising this, whatever. It seems like the end of a cycle that we're all on right now.
Yeah. And I wish to add as well, my high self wanted to share. It's like that song, because we're free, free
Yeah,
falling. Just keep
exactly.
remembering that and
Yeah,
just enjoy it, right? Like, I
yeah,
have no idea what is going to happen, and everything is falling apart. And
yeah,
isn't it wonderful?
yeah.
Yes. Thank you for this blessing, universe. Thank you for this gift. Thank you for the ridiculousness that is
Hmm.
playing out in humanity right now. I am ready and I am willing and I am open to diving all in, because we
Mm.
can't have one foot in this world and one foot in the other. We have to command
Yeah,
what we know to be true in our hearts
yeah,
into presence. And so that also comes with taking radical responsibility that you are the creator of your experience.
yeah,
And yes, collectively, is there things that we don't agree with and we don't like? Yes, but we could be there all day, right?
yeah, yeah.
But how do we come into this space of expansion, of personal growth? Well, it starts with commanding. I'm commanding myself into presence. I'm commanding the utmost pristine, crystalline consciousness of light to run through my being daily, so that I may raise my frequency to the highest experience, the most abundant timeline that is unconditional love, that is not created in conflict, divide, struggle, envy, comparison, or judgment. I am beyond my story. I am upgrading my beliefs. I am no longer who I was told I had to be as a child. I'm no longer what the government tells me I have to be. I am stepping out. I am exiting. I am all that I am, and I'm stepping into this power of now.
Right
Because as
on.
I raise my voice through love and I open my heart, I command my reality into being, into pure divine presence, that everything is working out for me, that everything is unfolding at the perfect, most opportune moment. Spirit, please show me and download me
Mm.
the exact steps, the exact know how to move through my pain, to move through whatever I perceive to be trapped within,
Yeah,
because I am not trapped. There is nothing holding me back, there is no blocks. All I have to do is expand my energy. And so it is, and it is done, it is done, it is done.
that's right.
So we have to be careful. What are we choosing to talk about? What are our stories? I had a client the other day um, message me and say, "Oh, please let me know. I'd love to do this thing, but I can't afford it. And let me know when you do something for low income earners." And da da da. And I was feeling her energy. I was like, "Wow, you're really in your story." And so I shared with her, that is your belief. And you have an opportunity to shift that belief by sharing a different story.
Yeah,
And if you really want something, if you really feel in your heart, that's the thing that I want to do, that's the thing I want to go and create, you will hold on to that with both hands, and you will be resourceful, and you will make it happen, because there is always a way to transform and
yeah,
shift out of where we were and into who we are. And that's what we need to do right now.
yeah.
Because as we continue with the opposite, we're going to get the same results. We're going to get the same story.
That's right.
And we have to expand our energy. We talk about contraction and, oh, I need to save myself, and bad energy, and I've got to work through my blocks, my pain, and my trauma. Fuck that. You need to expand. We're infinite, divine, creator
That's right.
beings. Wow. Let's
Yeah,
expand in that frequency and that reality and that consciousness, and witness the shifts, the beautiful miracles every morning. Thank you for the beautiful miracles that are unfolding into my life today. I'm so blessed to be here. I chose to be here in the
mm-hmm.
ridiculousness of what it is to be human. And I love it. It's messy, but what a fucking journey.
Mm-hmm. And
Yes, 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 yes.
nothing we could do from up there. I mean,
No, no.
this is funny because it's the, and that's why I've been able to kind of come to terms with emotions. You know, it started about the end of 2018. I started effectively be able to feel into the emotions. But I started to realize, well, I can't. This is why I came. I actually came to feel these things in every cell of my body. You know, like sadness or anger or you know whatever. You know, like the last 3 days, there's been a huge expansion of, in my opinion, for me, of the heart chakra. It's just like expanded and it's sending all these waves, these orgasmic waves through me. And I'm like, whoa, okay, I can let go of all that stuff for this. You know what I mean? But yeah, you just said something that kind of, it didn't trigger me, but it was a good point. God, I can't remember what you were just saying, but it was, well, it was good, whatever it was, and it'll come back if it needs to. But yeah, I know what it was in that example that you gave. And so there's always multiple streams, multiple purposes, multiple meanings. One of the huge things that we're disengaging from, some people would argue that it's probably the primary programming is the whole creation of the financial system, money, however you want to put it. And one thing I've, worked with consciously for a long time, given what I've been doing and trying to do and trying to sustain myself and all that stuff, is to develop a transformational relationship or outcome or experience with money or resources, or let's call it abundance, because that's probably the first thing that we got wrong, is that money is abundance. It's not. And abundance can be many, many things. We've been gifted many things, Morgan and I, that, I've never put a monetary value to, but you could, and it would be extraordinary. Not to mention the energetic intention of people and their good wishes as we develop these vortexes show after show after show. But I guess in terms of it, I'm not taking shots at the lady or your client or anything, because we've all been there. And I stand there today, right now.
Yeah.
I woke up this morning thinking, well, I got these two things I got to pay. I've only got this much in the bank. Maybe I should wait till there's a little bit more and then I'll pay them. But that's one thing I've learned, is that, and it's still not easy, obviously, but when something comes, take care of it. And like you said, if there's something you feel is going to benefit your soul wholeheartedly, go do it, go purchase it, whatever the case is. And what I have found is when I can do that with a clear spiritual confidence, that immediately that or something better is immediately replaced. I mean, it's just weird. I'll look at it, I'll push a button, pay a bill, boom. 2 minutes later, there's something comes in. I'm like, oh my God, why is it taking me so long? Why is this learning curve so bumpy? Why isn't it just a smooth ascending line? But I guess that's how we work the bugs out. I guess that's how we create these new templates and blueprints. But I think it is an important topic, how we view abundance, and as a kind of a sub article of that, how we view money, and more importantly, how do we work with it? How do we cooperatively work with it in recognizing it as a mirror of us, made of the same eternal substance, made in the image, and work together, because we can do that. We can do that with each other. We can do it with anything. We can connect with anything, and at least to our utmost wherewithal, utilize our own power to at least start a trajectory or initiate a trajectory of transformation. So, good point.
Beautiful. I have a few pieces I'd love to share, actually, because
Absolutely.
It's very synchronistic. So, to come back to my beautiful client, who's amazing, and I left her such a gifted message. I really did, because I don't meet people in their story. I meet people in the potential, and that's the frequency I hold, and I have to be there, because if I'm dropping my energy down into that struggle puddle, it's just it's not going to work. And so we have such a fear around gifting ourselves what we truly want to create or taking action, because of lack, of fear, of scarcity, of stuff that's gone on in the past. And sometimes we have to just trick ourselves into blindly taking those steps with no idea how it's going to work out. And I've been there many, 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 many times. Once I had £300 in my bank account, and I wasn't in the frequency to write my book. And I got a vision very strongly. I had to go to Central America. This was 6 years ago. And I decided, okay, I'm going to do it. I'm just going to book this flight. And by the time I get on that plane, it would have figured itself out. And so by the time I sat on that plane 3 weeks later, I had all of these clients come in. I had my brother gave me some money. I had a refund for something. And I was sat with £4,000 in my bank account.
Right on.
I was like, right, this is how it works. And I asked my higher self, I said, you're making me do this because I have to share this one day. And they said, yeah, we know. I'm like, okay, well, I'm looking forward to the time when I'm, money's coming in and more flow. And they said it will. And so same with this lady, I remember investing in a course once about 5 or 6 years ago. It was around the same time. And it was a big purchase for me at the time. I was like, whoa, I have no idea. But I knew there was something within that that I needed. And I didn't know what it was, but my heart was like, this is in resonant for you. And so I took the leap and I paid the money and I put it on my credit card. Yeah. But I commanded into presence, this will be paid off within 3 months. And so it is.
Yeah.
So 3 months and 1 day later, I received a check from the government for the exact money with 5 cents out. I was like, okay, this is how this works. So this week, I'm in the theme of abundance. I've been invited by a lady to do some filming for her online course, which is teaching about money. And so I've been doing activations for her community. And so in payment of that, she's put me up in the hotel where she's doing the filming. So I'm currently in a 5-star hotel, paid for and food, with the most beautiful view of the ocean, running courses on abundance.
Yeah. And this is how it's implemented, right? I mean, This is actually walking the talk.
Yes.
Is not as painful, or it's not drudgery walking the talk. It might be a little bit of conscientiousness in terms of not going there and not engaging in where we came from. But that's like the hardest part of it. To me, it's actually as easy as just surrendering into it, or or just falling into it, like you were talking about, just actually engaging it and giving it a chance, because we haven't utilized it before. And so now there's pockets of people and groups that are doing it, and this is how it works. And it's so somewhat mystical and fantastical, fairy tale-ish, that maybe the hardest part is like, God, this actually works. This is actually happening.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And it's practice. It's a daily practice. So last week in my morning practice, I every morning I write down 5 or 10 invocations, affirmations of what I want to embody. And one of them was, an amazing and beautiful invitation is on its way to me now. And unexpected money is coming to me to pay for a couple of things that were going to be fun. I was like, okay, that's kind of out the budget, but I know I'm meant to do it. And that afternoon, I had this invitation come through. And I want to be very clear that abundance isn't judging it on that you've stayed in a 5-star hotel or you've eaten in the finest restaurants. It really is the abundance of life, of allowing yourself to feel so held and so supported by the universe that we get out of our own fucking way with the mind, and we actually allow this to be playful.
Yeah.
We actually allow ourselves to play, because play brings us into joy, and joy raises our frequency. And when we raise our frequency, guess what? Our experiences upgrade. The way we're bringing through consciousness, love into the planet upgrades. And that's what humanity needs from us. It doesn't need another person fighting.
A smile.
A smile.
It's a smile. I mean, I saw something I think it was today. You know how this 3D memory is now. You can't remember when anything happened. But it was somebody
at some point.
Somebody put up a post, and I kind of have a recollection of it, but I don't want to go into it because I probably get it wrong. But basically the energy of it was, how do you, in other words, people say this, people say that. What does it really look like? What does a download really look like? What does a being in flow really look like? And what came to my head as soon as I saw it was, I just went, a smile. Like, truly, like, you can't argue with that. It's like, and to your point, if we take it a little further, happiness, being happy, it's not the struggle we thought it was. It's just a matter of seeing the things that come before us being presented to us. I could have totally gone off the rails today, and I probably would have 6 weeks ago. It was a lot of stuff came in at one time. And then as I'm laying there, I realized, well, it's all presented to you in this bundle as opposed to like 10 different episodes for a reason, because you can handle it. And by the end of the thing, I'm a little bit tired and groggy, but I was smiling. I thought, oh, wow, that's pretty cool. That's okay. But I mean, really, it's like all the stuff that's kind of gotten us here, whether they be deep traumas or deep communion or deep divine episodes or deep divine intervention. It's really, it's crazy, because it looks like a very powerful thing. It looks like a fantastical thing. but really, it keeps driving us back to the human, like, you want the proof in the pudding? Go look in the mirror, look in the mirror of your soul, look in your eyes, yourself, look in your eyes, look at your smile,
Mm.
look at your countenance, look at the muscles in your face. Are they constricted? Are they loose? I mean, it may not give you the answer of what to do next, but at least it give you an idea of where you're at.
Yeah.
But the other thing I love about your message too, and of course, I'm married to someone who is all for it, which is the programming, the self-programming, the deprogramming, the reprogramming, the self instruction. We're literally the computer programmer. I mean, we it's not futile to talk to yourself. I mean, it used to be we were all crazy and weird. Now it's pretty normal to see people talking to themselves. I mean, so that's again going back to the central point of this whole experience being ourselves, and that's that responsibility that you're talking about, or at least an opportunity to tap into the potential, the limitless potential that we have. No one's going to do it for you. Society's not going to create a set of parameters for you to follow that you'll get it. It's really just this personal journey, and the language I speak with the universe and the language you speak with the universe or anyone else may sound different, look different, taste different, smell different, but it's really the same language. And to get caught up in the semantic differences, I think is starting to fall away too, in that respect of maybe because we have a higher self-respect, is the respect of others having their own journey and respecting it and getting the hell out of their way and not infringing on their on their energy field is starting to take hold.
Yeah. And if you're wanting to make those transformational shifts in your reality, you've got to fake it till you make it. You've got to share a different story. You've got to try on, what would it feel like to have had XYZ created in my life? What does it feel like to be doing something different?
Mm.
And, I get it. Like, I really have been in so many different versions of myself through reality, like poverty, losing my job, horrific breakup, all of it, deaths, sickness, disease, money loss, robbed, or, just so much like human stuff.
Yeah.
And keep coming back to the heart.
Yeah.
Keep coming back to the intention.
And understanding that blessings are burdens and burdens are blessings from the human perspective, because the biggest chunks of gold we have all had have been these traumas that we've had individually. So why would it be any different? If we look at it on a macro scale and a collective scale, and just take any number of issues that are out there, and we don't even have to list them because everybody knows. Why would it be any different? These collective traumas, so to speak, that are presenting themselves are no different than the personal traumas that we all eventually recognized, became aware of, processed, and transformed into the state that we're in today. I mean, we wouldn't be here if it wasn't for that. And think about where we're going when we get through this process and transform this energy that's presenting itself to all of us on a collective scale.
Yeah.
It's
what brings you
truth.
joy?
Yeah,
and move in that direction. Yeah.
We're and as a reminder, I mean, again, this is my opinion, but I just have to say this, being in this company with Zoe, is that everything that we're doing isn't just affecting our circles closest to us or this Earth grid. It's the solar system, the galaxy, the universe, the multiverses, and in every single dimension and timeline. We're that powerful. We are that, made in the image. So, that's, I don't know if anyone I've met that regardless of what their history's been will argue with that. I don't think any of us fully understand it, but like you said, I don't know if the words fake it, but at least how do you know that or not, that if you take that approach, that won't make all the difference? That would be like a cosmic quantum to me.
Yeah.
Like, okay, if do I really make the difference? Well, if I have a choice of either not giving 100% into it or giving 100% into it, even if it defies all societal standards and expectations, I'm going to go with the latter. because
Yeah.
that very well could make the difference. And that sounds like a quantum cosmic kind of thing versus, what I would think of like the earth quantum.
Yeah.
So yeah, and like Morgan says, a copy is a copy is a copy.
Yeah.
So that I think the basic creation equation is the same regardless of where you're at in the spectrum.
Everything
Powerful.
is working out for me.
Yeah.
I
So
am in the highest timeline.
that's right. Absolutely. And we're honored to have you here today. Is there anything you want to do or anything you want to say before we get off? And the floor is yours.
I would love to just bring through a really short, powerful invocation that would really seal in everything that we've talked about, that people could use and listen to whenever they're wanting to come back into alignment, if that feels good.
Right on. Let's do it.
And this has been so lovely. Me and Todd have rescheduled this 4 times.
It's okay.
And it almost became quite laughable. And today I was like, today is the day.
Yes.
The stars are aligned.
Yeah, and I'm glad you said you thought it was later, because I'm like, I can use an extra hour to get my shift together.
It's beautiful.
So
it's
it
beautiful.
all worked out fine.
So I just want you to connect in with yourself and really use this moment, this time, this invocation, this transmission of light to really align to your highest and greatest purpose, your highest and greatest timeline. And as we call in the 4 directions of the north, the south, the east, and the west, to create a clear transmission and container of receiving, of receptivity, as we call in our ancestors and elders, our hearts, our higher hearts, and our higher selves to open and activate within us now. And allowing all beings of the higher dimensional consciousness that are creating the beautified, unified field of consciousness that are here to support us on our evolutionary growth in the most transformational change-making quantum shifts in the shortest amount of time possible. And any beings, subconscious, parasitic entities that aren't in the power of light and the power of love to go home and evolve and to be cleared from this space now, show me. And coming into the power of your intention, the power of your heart, connecting in with your heart space. And anywhere that you have not been showing up for yourself 100% wholeheartedly in the full divine expression of you, collapsing, clearing, folding into itself across all realities, dimensions, and planes of existence now. Calling into yourself all of your energy back across all realities, planes of existence, and parallel universes, and all of the abundant versions of you that are here to teach you how to grow into the greatest divine version of you. Calling this into the space now. And anywhere that your energy is still contracted, small, playing out the old parasitic timelines of frequency control of what you would perceive to be called the 3D matrix system, collapsing, clearing, folding into itself now across this reality, past, present, and future, parallel universes, coming into the power of now, bringing back your personal energy, bringing back all of your power of your higher self. Katatoria moto, sushu, tareto manaria no musa. And allowing yourself to come into this space, into your moment, activating your light grid, activating your heart, activating your entire energetic, geometric system of the most divine light. Calling into divine presence. I am all that I am. I am divine will. I am divine grace. I am divine love. I am abundant. I am prosperous. I am healthy. I am alive. I am creative. I am receptivity. I'm here to embody the highest divine light across all planes of existence now. Show me, show me, show me. Adiatomo surya matomoko. Itareono so shotomo so shup 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 shup. Taking deep breath in. And deep breath out. Allowing your being, your essence to ground deep into the earth, all the way down into the crystalline core of Gaia, connecting in with that womb space, that mother love, that nourishment, bringing that vitality into your being. And in that womb space of Gaia, allowing your auric field to expand in golden frequency, expanding out all the way across the planet, sending frequencies and bands of love to every single being on this earth, expanding your auric field out past the atmosphere, out past the galaxy, out past the dimension, and out into infinity and beyond. Ariatoko, shu, 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 kareato, yamato, kurt, to shukatiatu, squirt, shu, yap, shu. Taking a deep breath in, deep breath out. Coming back into this reality, into this present moment. Divine consciousness, divine light. Allowing these energies, this pristine consciousness of intention to run through your being for the rest of the day. Knowing that you can always return back to your intention, to this space, to your heart, to your being, to your knowledge, to your power, to your personal energy. Allowing yourself to amplify in your auric space, as all of the inner work you do is affecting the outside. You're beyond anything that you dared to have dreamed before, so allowing your imagination to come into full force. Atoriamata koyamasa, taking a deep breath in. Deep breath out. Shoo, 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 shoo. And then just giving your body a little shake, and then your body a little hug. I love you, I love you, I love you. Do, 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 do. Shoo, 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 shoo.
So it is. Thank you.
So it is.
Thank you. I look forward to collaborating with you later in the year. And thank you for coming in and sharing space with us and honoring us with your presence. It was a great way to start the day.
Thank you, Todd. It was so beautiful to be here.
Yeah.
So much love to you. So much love to everyone. Have a blessed day.
It's good seeing you.